All right, so here's one example of a featured asset and the level of detail I'd like to see on your level design document itself. All right, so the example would be a sports car, right? The actual sports car itself is the featured asset. And how it's tied back into the level is someone in the Bastion has requested that this vehicle be returned to them, right? So the player has to go out, adventure through the level, and find, first of all, find where the vehicle is. And then when they find it, that they notice that the tire is flat, right? And that the battery is dead, right? They need to go find these two missing pieces. So both of them, they're able to pick them up with the Gravnol individually. They pick up the tire found on another vehicle and then carry it over and then snap it onto the car itself. Now, if you're wondering yourself, well, I don't know how to do any of that, that's okay. We're going to teach you how to go through that and build all of this functionality and these concepts throughout the month. Now just come up with the overall design and what you want to have happen, and then we can work on actually making that happen. So once the player finds those two objects and they snap them into place, they're able to walk up to the vehicle and then press the interact key to enter into the vehicle, right? And this will trigger a cutscene where the player enters the car. And now if you've already read the Creative Vision, you might be saying to yourself, wait a minute, the Creative Vision says no drivable vehicles. And you are correct, right? We don't want the player actually getting in and controlling the vehicle, right? The reason being then you have to worry about making a character controller and that's drivable, and then making sure the player can't drive the vehicle in crazy places and all these extra things, and we're not focusing on level design anymore. So the way to get around this is using the vehicle as a cutscene, right? So you get in, it makes the player feel like they can drive, but the cutscene just triggers and they have the same interaction every time, right? The cutscene plays, it's the same result every single time. So they get in the car, the animation plays, they drive the vehicle out of the side of the building, and just as they're about to crash land, the helicopter picks them up, right? The helicopter flies by and the vehicle lands right on that landing platform, and now the helicopter will carry the player to the next area, right? To my potential teammates area to begin the next part of the level, right? So you can see in there how it's tied to player progression, right? I have to get this vehicle in order to complete the level. It's visually striking, right? We got like a flashy little sports car here, and it was on in a place in the level that really drew attention to it. It was a memorable interaction, right? Smashing out of the side of the building and then being scooped up by the helicopter. So definitely push yourself to come up with something as best as possible, and ways like this to work around some of the restrictions of the Creative Vision, right? So same thing with equipable weapons, right? Going back quickly to the tank, for example, this is a way to have a quote unquote weapon in the level to where you don't get to shoot it anywhere, right? But you're very easily able to have this spot where you can interact and quote unquote fire and destroy something, but it's very specific. It doesn't allow the player to do it everywhere in the level. So definitely a lot of opportunities here. So do your best to come up with a few different featured assets, and then from there choose the best one, or come up with a bunch of different ways the player could potentially interact, and then choose the best one and depict it in full detail. And please do your best to include at least one image on your level design document. The more imagery you give, the more reference you have, the better it will be for the reader to communicate what the ideas are, as well as you, the designer, to actually build this in Unity.